Okay, here today I'm working on a Toyota Aygo and I'll be fitting a dashboard camera to it, a dash cam, a front one. So on this particular vehicle we're going to be wiring the camera to the fuse box of the vehicle so that the camera goes on and off with the ignition system of the car. We'll also be hiding all the cabling so it's nice and tucked out of the way so you don't see it. Now before I go any further I just need to point out that by following this video guide I am in no way held responsible or liable for any injury to yourself or damage to your vehicle. Okay, first things first, before we go through anything, I need to show you where the fuse box is on one of these cars. Now, the manual does show you, but it's still a little bit vague. It's either side of your speedo. So, if you take off the cowling, which I'll show you how to do in a sec, and look here, there's some fuses for you down the side. Same with the other side, if we go round the other side of it, there's some more fuses. Now, the cowling itself, which normally sits, just get my camera view right, sort of on there, yeah. And you've got the pop out there for the rev counter there, which slides over. Now, there's two mounting screws, one here, one here. They sit behind the steering wheel, so you put your key in, turn it, and you'll have a Phillips screw, crosshead screw, one here to take out, turn the wheel, and another one here to take out. It is possible to disconnect the edge trim, the grey bit, as you can see because it's on plastic tabs, from the black piece, so you can actually pop it and leave the grey piece in place if you wish. However, in the past, because they can be quite tricky to unclip, I have seen it where the mounting screw lugs have snapped, so it's always best to just pop the two Phillips screws out that hold it in and take the whole thing out. Now, getting it around the rev counter, you are going to just bend it very slightly to get it round it and take it away. But once you've done that, once you've moved it out of the way, and yes, it is a daft design, I agree with that, you're on to what you're going to need to fit your camera. Now, a lot of camera manufacturers have fitting kits for their cameras. This camera going in this car is actually a neck space, so we've got a neck space fitting kit. If you have a Garmin, you're going to get a Garmin fitting kit, etc. Now, in the fitting kit, you get, let's move the box, all these bits. You get a replacement power cable, which has got a mini USB on the end for this particular camera, and terminates in an earth connection with a spade on it that goes to a chassis earth, so a good mounting point for an earth, and a power cable on a bullet connector there on this particular one. And also it comes with two fuse spurs, as they are called. Now, the Toyota Aygo and its sort of cousins use the mini blade one, which is this size, not this one. This is sort of used in old cars, a lot of commercial vehicles. That one, not used, put that out of the way. And what these are for is so that you can double up one fuse socket into two. So there we go, double it up, you'll pull a fuse out, an accessory position fuse that's not critical. We'll show you that later on, and also how to test. And you've got a fuse here for your camera, normally a 2 or 3 amp. And then obviously the original fuse from the fuse box goes here, and this plugs into where it came from. But like I say, I'll go over that in detail shortly. This plugs onto the end of the red wire, the power wire that comes with the fitting kit. You also get one of these in most kits. This is a ferrite filter, and it's designed to aid radio interference. They work to a very limited degree in my years of trying them out, so sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. They're especially poor if you've got DAB radio, so bear that one in mind. And all we do basically, they're on hinges, so there we go, little plastic hinges, little clips at the front, so you sort of pop, I can't do it one-handed, but basically we pop them open, lay your cable across it, wrap your cable around the back, through and out again, like this. There we go. So it pops open, like I say, round it, underneath it, back round and out, literally loop it, and that's your ferrite filter fitted. Now the next thing I normally do, because this is going to be tucked up in your headlining, and your headlining is made of like a soft fibre substance, so obviously it's fragile, it's quite delicate, you don't want to be ragging it around too much. Get yourself sort of 2 or 3 cable ties, and basically wrap them around the cable, snip the end off, cover them in some sort of tape. Now the reason I do this is to bulk the cable up a bit so that when it's above your headlining tucked in, if you hit a pothole, it's not going to drop down in front of your view while you're driving along. Yeah, you don't want it shaking loose and coming out. This is just to bulk the cable up a little tiny bit, just to make it a bit more in situ. The reason I wrap them in tape, by the way, is because if you've snipped cable tie, if you've ever actually done this, you will notice that the end can be quite sharp. Now in time it could in theory rip through your fibre headline and make a mess of it, so I just pad it out a little bit with the tape. Not strictly important, it's just a little tip, works well, done it for years, so thought I'd mention it. And there we go, we've tucked all our cable up above there. Our power cable is dangling down to the left of the rear view mirror, ready for the camera. This is a right-hand drive car. We're going to come across now to the screen pillar top, and what you normally use is a plastic leverage device like so, and you can normally just sort of put it in the corner there. Doing everything one-handed is always tricky, and basically pop it off. Now if it's struggling, all you can do is open your door and pull the rubber seal away, like so. I'm sorry about the background noise, there's a lot of construction going on, and unfortunately there's a bloody force 10 hurricane gale happening today, so I do apologise for that. Right, you've got some goo here that sort of seals this on. Do not get it on you and then get it on your upholstery. It does not come off. It's an absolute nightmare. So pop it off. There we go, off it comes. It's on a plastic clip there, look. And then obviously you put your cable behind it, up and under, and then all the way down until you get to here. So with the cable run down here, we've pushed the rubber, excuse me, sorry, told you about that hurricane wind we're having. Push the rubber trim down here, so your cable comes down, terminates here. Now behind this kick panel plate here is a 10mm bolt, ideal earth location. So get your plastic leverage tool, pop this forwards to get access to the bolt. Go ahead and remove the 10mm bolt because that's going to be your earthing point. And there's our earthing point done. Now you can put it in front or behind the plastic, it's up to you, you can pull it forward, put it behind if you want. It's using the actual bolt threads as the earth to the chassis, so it's no odds either way. Just nip it up and then obviously trail your power cable through and across to sort of this area, because we're going to need to come up the side here with the power cable, so we're going to go across, under, supporting it necessarily so it doesn't fall down near your feet, and then bring your power cable up here to your fuses. Right guys, so with your power cable fed up through to the steering column area, so your fuses are on the right here on the right hand drive cars. Generally on right hand drive cars the fuses on the right are constantly live, so they're no good. So you've got to come across to the other side and go to this bank here, the left hand bank. Generally, and I do say generally because it depends on where the car's sold, fuse box layouts, optional extras, etc. This particular car, I'm testing with a multimeter here, so ignition off, yeah. If we go, I've done a lot of these, so I'll sort of know which ones to use on UK cars. This 20 amp here on this particular car is for this cigarette lighter, the 12 volt socket, so we just tap the top of the fuse there with the probe. 0 voltage with the ignition off. Now what you're looking for is a fuse that's an accessory position fuse. You do not want anything to do with airbags or ABS or anything like that, nothing critical, optional fuse only. 12 volt socket obviously is perfect, goes on and off with the ignition. So for this particular car, once you turn the ignition on, the power will go up, it will show 12.4 volts or whatever on the multimeter, and that will be the fuse I'll be using. Likewise on this particular one, all of these are ignition switched. The bottom one is constant live. So any of those, as long as they're accessory position fuses, would be fine to do the job. But like I say, you don't want to pull anything to do with airbags or anything like that. I'm going with this one here, and make sure you pull the fuse when the ignition is off and the key is out. So we'll go ahead, take that fuse out. There we go, we've pulled the fuse out of the fuse box, the yellow 20 amp there, on this 2010 Aygo. And we've doubled it up, so we pushed it in next to the 2 or 3 amp fuse that runs the camera. We can now push this back into the original socket that it came from. Can be fiddly to do actually, because we're in a, like I say, a really daft position on these cars. There we go, goes in the upright position like so, and then obviously you get the bayonet here and plug it into the power wire here, so plug that into there. Okay. Next up, quick test. We plugged the camera in. Yes, it's dangling. I know, not ideal, is it? But it fell off the window and I've only got one hand free. Okie dokie. Make sure you heat your windscreen with your heater first, otherwise it'll fall off just like this one has. Ignition on. And there we go. That's powered on. and ready to set up. This one's got battery backup, so it'll stay on a little bit longer. Power off there, and off it goes. So, if you've got this far, you have successfully fitted your dash cam to your Aygo. Obviously, clip your trim back over. You know, your fuse box cover, nice and easy. Just slide it in, just watching it snap it when you put it around the rev counter that pokes out. Mount your camera on the window screen, and that's it. Thanks a lot for watching, and goodbye for now.